I left home when I was about 15. I actually went to a private girls' school and I lived in quite a beautiful home, but I was very, very troubled, and my parents had divorced when I was young and both were in other relationships. I eventually started to self-harm, so I started to cut myself to sort of relieve some of the pain that I was feeling. And I think that was the beginning of my self-hatred. Everything that went on around me, I felt somehow was my fault. And so when I left home, I thought I could go into the world and just become this new and different person. And it didn't work that way. It was around then that I discovered alcohol. And I remember my first drink, I always explained that as feeling like home because it took away everything that I felt about myself, all my self-hatred, all my self-doubts. I eventually was introduced to drugs by different people and lived all around the city and would just take drugs and drink every single day. I remember couch surfing and living with different people and just trying to find my place in the world and just not finding it. I had become a sex worker, a prostitute, working in brothels all around Melbourne. That was my main income. So I was on this spiral of getting up, going to work at night, taking drugs, coming home, drinking, taking pills, going to sleep, getting up. Eventually, I worked out that I hadn't been clean or sober for about 15 years. Around that time, I made a call to the Salvation Army. It was basically a suicide call, just saying, it's over, I don't know what to do anymore, I can't keep going like this. And that's when they invited me into St Kilda Crisis Centre to speak to them. And I remember my mother and sister dropping me off and I had my bag. And when they left, I completely broke down. And I remember getting on my knees and saying, God, if you are real, this is it. This is it. I started to get a bit better and a bit better. And someone gave me the Message Bible. And I started to read it. And I remember reading Romans and I remember reading Corinthians. I remember reading about Paul saying, if you don't have love, you have nothing. And it was that point I knew I had nothing. I had no love left. There was nothing. I was dead inside. And I thought, can God really love me? Can God really know who I am and the things that I've done and still really love me? And that answer came to me. And I knew that God did love me, that God had forgiven me, and that God was going to give me a chance and a new life. And the next day I woke up and I felt like everything had changed. I looked out into the world and it looked different to me. It was just so dramatic. The journey from there has not been perfect. Life isn't easy. My life hasn't been without suffering since then. But the person that walked into that place was not the person that walked out. Not long after, I became a soldier in the Salvation Army, went on to work with other people with drug and alcohol. I then became an officer. I got married in between, had a beautiful child, and have an exciting ministry that I love. I was dead, and when I left, I was alive. I had hope, I had faith. Joy was starting to come into my life. I had forgiveness. I had love. How does one compare my life from being a drug-addicted, alcoholic, prostitute to what I have today? You can't. Jesus gave me new life, completely transformed my life. There's nothing I would replace for that, nothing. The life that He's given to me.